That's Anika Kentish in St. John's, Antigua. Hurricane Irma has Haiti and the Dominican Republic directly in its sights today. My next guest, Olivier Sénat, is a Port-au-Prince resident. He is no stranger to severe storms. He actually lived through the last hurricane. In fact, he feels so strongly about the government's response to disasters. He wrote an op-ed in the local paper criticizing it, and he joins me live from Port-au-Prince. Olivier, let's begin with the situation now. What do you see around you, and how prepared are people to deal with this?
Well, thank you for having me today. Around me, I live in Port-au-Prince, so it's not going to be on the path of the hurricane. However, how I've seen this this week is that everybody was rushing into the supermarket, getting stuff to pack stuff into their house. The streets are really there's a lot of traffic. In fact, I'm going back home right now, and there's a lot of traffic. But in the north part of the country where the hurricane will happen, there is a lack of information for the people. If you go on my Twitter at OLIBEMPS, you will see all the tweets I've been sending this morning regarding the population. Either they're not informed about the hurricane, or they simply don't want to go out in shelters. So it's really complicated. You remember last year around this time, when Matthew hit Haiti, it was the same problem because there's not enough information, and we as Haitian, we tend to wait at the last moment in order to things that are happening.
I want to ask you about Matthew, because you lived through that. The canals around your neighborhood, what happened with them, and could it reoccur with Irma?
I'm sorry?
The canals in your neighborhood during Matthew, the last hurricane, what happened with those canals, and could it reoccur in Irma?
Okay, you're talking about the waterways, right?
Yes.
Okay, the waterways in Haiti are often stocked with a lot of waste and plastic materials. So throughout the year, the government or the private sector, which is involved sometimes, doesn't do enough cleaning in order to unblock the waterways. So when the hurricane seasons appears from June to November, so the water and the flood go, and a lot of cities are flooded, because if there's no space for the water to go through, there'll be a lot of flood everywhere. So it's really complicated. We lack of materials, we lack of everything in Haiti, and we tend to, like I said earlier, we tend to do things in the. So if they started doing something, they started doing it early this week. So it's not enough to give us enough safety around and be prepared for eventual hurricane, for example.
What are you telling your daughter? She's only 2, but when she sees people around her maybe getting upset, worried, what do you say?
Well, where I live, I'm kind of away from all the stuff that's happening. So we'll be staying at home. So if anything bad happens, so we'll go to a shelter nearby our house. But for now, she only knows that it's going to rain, so she's not really afraid of that.
Final question for you. What are you hoping the international response will be? Because Canadians, we know, have really helped out when it comes to aid to Haiti and all across the country. What do you think the international response should be or will be this time around?
Well, I think it will be in the same way as it happened years ago. For example, Matthew last year, 7 years ago for the earthquake. But yet, remember that the government has to allow the international community to enter either the country or to help us. So I think it will be on the same way, and nothing's going to change because we're so the country is so vulnerable when it comes to natural disasters. So we're hoping the least disaster could happen, and we're ready to volunteer as we'll be able to.
I want to thank you for your time. I certainly wish you safety for you and your family. You take care of yourself, Olivier.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, and have a good one.
That's Olivier Sénat in Port-au-Prince. He lives there in the capital of Haiti.